What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Icing the Puck. Guys, not too much to talk about other than the Olympic rosters, but guess what? We have bonus episodes on Team Canada and Team USA. This episode will be coming out on the same day as the Team USA episode. Team Canada episode already out. Go check those out. Everybody, thank you so much for the engagement on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. We appreciate it. We are growing like crazy. So blessed to be growing. Jordan, what's up, man? How are you doing?
I'm okay. It's been a little bit of a rough weekend sports-wise for me, sort of, but I mean, all in all, not bad at all, but just
Yeah.
being pessimistic today.
Avs got another regulation loss, but
They
it's
did.
okay. It's just 3.
It's like,
All right.
damn, they can't win every game? Like, what is this?
But your Broncos,
Unacceptable.
number 1 seed in the AFC.
Yes, the Broncos over here. Let's go.
Let's ride.
Let's ride. Broncos country. Let's ride. The only good thing Russell Wilson did for this organization. That and the Subway commercial.
It has not been a good sports weekend for me either. I've had an extended time off from work once again for New Year's, just like I did for Christmas. Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year. Yeah, my Texas Longhorns beat Michigan in a bowl game. Arch Manning legacy game. That was pretty sick to watch. 350 through the air, over 100 on the ground.
Which one did they play in? They weren't the Cheez-Its one, were they?
Yeah, it was the Cheez-Its Bowl.
Was it the Cheez-Its one?
It was
Okay.
the Cheez-Its Citrus Bowl. So
It's great.
Cheez-Its Citrus Bowl champions this year. Unfortunately, it's not the college football playoff, but I spent some more time watching some college football, watching some hockey, and then last game of the season for my Cowboys today got crushed by the Giants. So fitting end to a horrible season. Then my Stars still on the losing streak here. It's been a rough go. Losing to Montreal, at least we got a point out of it today. But
Yeah, it was an overtime loss, so
Not the
all
end of the
bad.
world.
At least they came away with 1 point there.
But listen, y'all, we got a couple things that we got to discuss here today. First of all, big news in the hockey world. The NHL Winter Classic happened. South Beach, Miami Vice. It was a disaster. It was slop.
Yeah, and no matter how much everybody on like social media and whoever is trying to spin it as like this is such an amazing, like, oh, it's so cool, like, oh, I loved this, it was awesome. Yeah, Winter Classics should not be played in a place where it doesn't get below like 40 degrees ever. There's like, it's actually kind of cool. I saw it online. It was like a map of the entire league and it had like lines drawn. It's like the north should be Winter Classic, like the center should be the Heritage ones, and then the south is Stadium Series.
Series, yeah.
Totally agree. 100% agree. This wasn't good as a Winter Classic. It also wasn't even going to be good as a Stadium Series. Like,
No.
it just overall was just a miss. I don't mind the teams playing in it, but like play it somewhere where it's cold. I mean,
So my whole thing about the teams playing in it, though, is I have like a slight problem because I also think like these, not necessarily all the time. We have our resident Icing the Puck mascot Sage joining us today. We forgot to introduce her.
I was trying to figure out what she was staring at. She was just like staring sideways. Sorry.
But no.
Distracted.
So the teams in this, I don't have anything against the Rangers. Well, maybe after the USA roster video. I don't know. But I don't have anything against either of these teams, but like I would prefer if these games were at least rivalry games. Like, if this was Florida-Tampa, would have been so much better,
Yeah, like, I don't mind Florida. Florida's the reigning Stanley Cup champion. Like, obviously, they should get some extra, like, cool stuff going on. Like, that's fine. I'm tired of seeing New York in these, like, special games or whatever. Like, they might be one of the oldest teams in the league. That's great. I'm sick and tired of seeing New York everywhere. Like, give it to one of these other teams that, like, I know New York has a large fan base. They have a bunch of celebrity fans and they're trying to draw in, money and all that stuff. This is literally just like this Stadium Series thing is just them trying to make money. And they're trying to like make it this whole like social media thing. You have people that have never watched hockey before, which is great. I'm not against new people coming to watch hockey, but they're literally just trying to make it like this influencer,
Yeah, it
like,
definitely became trash
paparazzi, like celebrity thing.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I just don't like the whole setup was just weird. The fake snow, like the like the dome open, the dome closed. The what are you doing back there? She's trying to get her 15 minutes right now.
Yeah.
She's
She's trying to be one of the influencers at the Winter
yeah,
Classic, you know?
yeah. But it's just like it just seems so like not genuine like it just seems so like fake. Like
So
I mean it was fake,
the
but like
Winter Classic is supposed to be classic. It is they have classic uniforms, or at least they go for that look. Like, and just this year, like you said, it felt so saturated, so off touch. Like you said, the fake snow, absolutely ridiculous. It was so cheesy. And Lone Depot Park, it's a great baseball stadium. You know, it's beautiful. It has the giant glass on the back. Like it has, I think it has like a swimming pool or something in there, if I'm not mistaken. But like, this is the Winter Classic, and we had like fakes. We had like sand and beach themed. Like the whole Miami thing was just, it was a dud. It was a
yeah,
flop.
save that for like the Stadium Series games.
Yes, seriously.
Like
And the Stadium Series is in Tampa this year. So like we're getting to Florida. And like they did it because both teams have been in the past like 5 cups or whatever, but like guys, after this year, like let's just scratch it. Let's go back to Detroit or Toronto or something. Like let's figure this out, you know.
dude, I saw talking about it's like a super cool like Winter Classic would be Canadians versus Leafs. That would be
Oh,
crazy. That would be so cool
or
to watch.
Sens Leafs, just something
Yeah.
like that. Like, oh,
Yeah, like
dude.
2 Canadian teams in the snow, like in Canada, would be sick.
We'll bring it back to year one, and I think 2010, like in Buffalo. You want like weather and all that. That's the ultimate
Yeah.
place for something like that. So
Wasn't uh yeah the Avs and Vegas one? That was
no, it was Avs Kings.
was it Avs Kings?
Yeah, I'm
What
pretty
was
sure
what
that was
was
Stadium Series.
what was the one that they played in Lake Tahoe?
Maybe, I don't know. You know, it was a good one a couple years back. You're thinking of Seattle, Vegas. That was a good one. That was 2 years ago. I actually didn't mind that one. Like Pacific Northwest hockey was kind of cool.
Yeah, so yeah, it was 2021. It was Vegas and Colorado. They played at Lake Tahoe. And then game 2 was Flyers Boston in 2021.
Okay, so was that a Winter Classic?
No, it was the outdoor at Lake Tahoe whatever thing.
Oh,
It was
okay, just a random event.
yeah, it
Okay.
was a different one. But like that kind of stuff, like those kind of things are like cool. Like the beach and the like you can't have a Winter Classic game.
No.
The only reason the other thing, put it on New Year's Day. This like super random, like the day that they did it was
Yeah.
just weird. You know, the second or what was it? The second?
It was
the
the
second.
third or second.
Yeah,
Yeah,
third.
it was the
Yeah,
second.
it was Friday. Like that was so weird. Like put it on New Year's Day. Everybody's at home. Everybody's not. Nobody's off. Nobody's working. Most people are not working.
Yeah, it was
Like
a little strange. It was a little strange. And, it wasn't even that good of a game. Like, the Rangers just pummeled Florida. Like, I wish it was. Like, obviously, you can't anticipate these games being competitive all the time, but you could set matchups that would be slightly competitive. I don't know. But yeah, it was overall it is what it is. Like, it was a bad Winter Classic. Hopefully the league learns from it. I don't know, Gary Bettman seems to really bias
no, they
the
won't
southern
because
markets,
they
but-
won't because they made a bunch of money and everybody that went to go like all the social media people make it look like, oh my God, this is so amazing. It was such a success. It's so cool doing this and showing off all this stuff. It's like, yeah, you got in for free and got like VIP tickets so you could show what it was like. The people that paid money to go to this stadium or this Winter Classic or whatever paid a bunch of money to not be able to watch a game because like you got to bring binoculars to see this game.
Yeah, insane.
Like
Great
I get
baseball stadium, horrible
Yeah.
hockey stadium. So
yeah,
but
terrible uniforms too.
yeah,
I
I
don't know if it's-
wasn't
know if it's
a
hot
fan.
take.
They
Yeah.
just tonight the Panthers just wore those uniforms again versus the Avs, and they just looked even worse, on the regular
Yeah.
camera angle.
It's
Like,
such
I
a
don't know.
waste of like their retro logo.
Yeah,
Like they
For
could
sure.
do so much better with that. Even their other jersey that they had that they would wear every once in a while with that logo is better than these ones. Just
one thing I liked about the New York uniforms was I think I've said before, the apple on the shoulder.
yeah. I think we
That's
talked
kinda-
about that on another
Kind
episode.
of cool, kind of
Yeah.
cool. But
Yeah,
other than that,
the whole Big Apple thing.
goes kind of
Yeah.
hard. But
Yeah.
another big story we got, obviously the Brady Kachuk being a troublemaker again. He's back at it. Him and Logan Stanley got into a little bit of a confrontation, and Logan Stanley, let him have one right on the chin. Little sucker punch going on. Really, what I want to ask you about that is it's a big topic right now. He got a 1-game suspension, Stanley, and Kachuk, no discipline. I thought there was maybe a little bit of discipline coming on both sides.
For what? What did Kachuk do other than?
Well, I'm surprised Kachuk didn't get a penalty. With it should have been a roughing.
He got a 10-minute misconduct.
Oh, okay.
And got kicked out of the game.
You know what? I'm tripping here. Yeah, you're right.
You know who? So I think we talked, like I sent when it first happened. It's like, so Logan Stanley got a 5-minute major, or no, he got two 2-minute.
A double minor?
I don't remember what it was. Anyway, he got some penalty minutes or whatever. Brady Kachuk got a 10-minute misconduct and got kicked out of the game.
Yeah.
He didn't even start it. He didn't even have his gloves off. It wasn't a fight.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything like that. Oh yeah, it was 2 minutes for taking the helmet off and 2 minutes for roughing. That's what it was.
Okay.
That Logan Stanley got. Or whatever. Like something like that. But Brady Kachuk, I know that like everybody doesn't like him, and everybody, like, all the comments and all the stuff I saw online was like deserved. Like, he deserved it. Like, that's what you get, like, for being a crybaby. It's like, he literally didn't do anything. Like, and then got sucker punched by, without a glove on. Like, if there was a glove on and it was like that, like, that's just a roughing kind of, just whatever. But no glove, do that. It didn't even take him, it like knocked him down a little bit because he wasn't expecting it, but also he got right back up and was like, it wasn't even that good of a punch either.
Do you think the 1-game suspension is enough for Stanley?
I think it should have been more. I think it should have been more. For a league that says that they want to protect their players and get rid of that kind of stuff out of the league, they sure don't take it very seriously when that kind of stuff happens. They just kind of, brush it aside, hope everybody forgets about it, and then continue to say, oh, we don't like this kind of play in hockey. Like, it's like, I don't get it.
I'm totally okay with a fight. I think, the linesman was between them, but if Stanley would have, waited, initiated a fight, whatever, they hash it out, both get a 5-minute major, would have been so much better, not just for them, for their sake, but for the game. But now you have a guy sucker punching another guy, and all he gets is 1 game for. I mean, I'd give him 3. Like that. Yeah,
I think it should have been multiple. I don't know. Yeah, 2 or 3, I think, would have been a very reasonable amount, but
yeah,
I don't know. I think the whole situation is just weird to me. It just kind of just doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah.
No matter what your feelings are on a specific player, that was uncalled for. I mean, imagine if it was a player other than Brady Kachuk that everybody seems to, for some reason, hate him as a player and hate him as a person or whatever. But what if
Connor
it was
McDavid got sucker punched?
Exactly. The league, they would be calling for him to be like in jail, basically. They'd be like,
yeah,
he needs to be kicked out of the league. He should never play again. Because it's Brady Kachuk, everybody's like, oh, he deserved it or whatever. He doesn't, I also don't get the whole, the thing about Brady Kachuk. Everybody says that he's such a dirty player and whatever. I don't really see that. Like, he is what? Because he shit talks and then hits you. And then when you want to fight, he fights you.
I see in the middle. Okay. Because obviously the Kachuk brothers play bang, bang hockey. Okay. And in a league, I hate to say it, but in a league that is getting softer, obviously we're about protecting our players. We don't want sucker punches or crazy hits to the head. But, in a league where the Kachucks don't fit very well, they play the way they do. And that's why people think they're dirty.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think that they play dirty. I think they play hard. They hit hard. They play aggressive. And yeah, I mean, they will, say stuff to you and rile you up and everything like that. But that's not breaking the rules. But then everybody gets mad at them or whatever. I don't know. I don't get it. I'll defend
the
Brady
Kachuk
and Matthew
bros.
Kachuk. Yeah.
I'm a Kachuk fan too. I like the Kachucks.
Yeah.
I think they're good for the game.
I absolutely agree. I wish more players played like them. Watching those guys play, especially when they play together. We just talked about it with Team USA and then the Four Nations. Those guys playing together is awesome. That, I know all the Canadian fans hated that it happened and they were all trying to rationalize it, but that line brawl and stuff that the 3 fights that started, and Four Nations was awesome. That was
One of
so
the best
cool.
moments I've ever seen as a fan.
Yeah, but both the Kachuk brothers, like, high fiving each other and like,
But yeah,
as they're going into the penalty box was sick.
it's the
Love
best.
it. But
We could go ahead and dive into these standings a little bit, man. We could talk about what's moved around in a week. Who's gone up, who's gone down the ladder. A couple things to talk about here. Where do you want to start?
I want to start with the Metro only because the team I really want to talk about is Carolina. I think Carolina's in trouble.
Oh yeah.
They have had some rough games lately. Their starting goalie is now on IR and will probably be out for the season, or is going to be out for the season, probably the playoffs. So they've got Freddie Anderson, who is super inconsistent and is probably going to be out with with injury this season for some reason, I'm sure.
Always is.
And then you've got
which Bussy has played well.
He's played well, but he's still a rookie, and you can't throw him in like the deep end, and like you have to play conservative with him, because if he gets just overplayed and just gets lit up for the rest of the season, it's going to kill his confidence, and he's going to have a rough next season, in my opinion. That's kind of how I see it.
No, I 100% agree.
They've been blowing a lot of games, mainly to Florida and then to Colorado. I mean, they have a terrible goal differential in the third period.
Well, so they lost to Colorado 5-3, lost to Montreal 7-5. What else do we got? Lost to the Hurricanes 5-1. The Penguins 5-1. I mean, like you said, it just kind of, things are getting a little out of hand, and in this Metro division, you can't fall behind. You can't. There's somebody in the snap of a finger waiting to take your place.
Yeah.
And
yep.
Yeah, losing Kochetkov is huge. Kochetkov was having a good year. He has a very aggressive style of play. It benefits him sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, it's a very high risk, high reward kind of play.
Yeah, but he was helping them win games, and that's what it comes down to. And now you go back to Freddie Anderson, who's never been reliable the whole time you've had him, and
both performance and with injuries.
Yeah,
I know he has a long-lasting, like a underlying issue that's causing a lot of this, but
blood clots.
Yeah,
so
yeah. But yeah, this Metro, I think we're going to see Carolina drop. I mean, they're already only 1 point ahead of New York and 2 points ahead of the Flyers and the Penguins. The Penguins are on a heater right now, the 5 games in a row.
Yeah.
The game today was an amazing comeback win
against Columbus.
That was awesome. Getting to watch that with some Penguins fans was nice. That was cool.
And hey, man, how about those Islanders? Man, I feel like we've said it multiple times on this show. Team nobody expected anything from. And this Schaefer kid has taken him to another level. Bo Horvat is playing at another level. Like, are the Islanders, are they a playoff threat? Am I going too far here? Or are they I don't know.
And they're probably about to be the first in the Metro.
Nobody's talking about Sorokin. Dude, Sorokin kind of coming back this year, man. He's playing really.
Yeah.
If there's a Team Russia, dude,
we were talking. Hello? Sorry.
Would be kind of scary.
Yeah. Team Russia would be very scary, honestly, because there's a bunch
geopolitics has to ruin so many things for us.
A bunch of big power forwards and then really good goaltenders. It's
and then Ovi just not really caring right now, and then he's like, "Oh, you're gonna play for your country." He'd have Subway imported, He'd order DoorDash it all the way across the world.
I feel like they've got Subway in Italy.
I don't know. That's like an insult to them, I feel like they Italy's like, we have Subway at home, You know
what? Should I say it? Hot take. Italians overrated.
Whoa! Hold on a minute. With what? Don't you dare.
I know, it's kind of a...
Are you saying Subway is better than a local Italian sub made by Italians?
No. I'm just saying... I'm just saying that, Italians are always everything in Italy is better, but, sorry.
No. Everything in New Jersey and New York is better than it is in Italy. And I've never been to Italy, and I don't care. I'm going to say it. But...
hold on.
We've made Italian food better here.
Ooh, that's a hot take.
But it's thanks to the Italian Americans. I'm married to one. I can say things like this.
Yeah. Sorry, I got kind of on a tangent here. I'm trying to find the closest Subway to the Olympics.
In Milan, Subway in Milan.
There's not any in Milan. I checked their website.
Damn. Is there one in Rome? There's got to be one in Rome, right? The Vatican might want some Subway.
The closest Subway to the Olympics.
We're having some technical difficulties trying to figure this out, y'all. Hold on.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm on this tangent now. I have to know.
The OCD's kicking in.
I need to know for Ovi.
He's not even going to be there. You see what he said? You see what he said about the Olympics? They're like, what are you going to do since you're not competing this year? He said, I'm going to sit on the couch and have a lot of beers. Good for him, dude. What a guy. Ovi's just one of us, man. He's just one of us. Ovi, that's what I do every Saturday, dude. I get it. Like, sit on the couch, have a lot of beers. You're struggling with this, man.
Dude, I don't know why it's not pulling up. I know there are some there. It just keeps
gotta move on. You're buying too much.
Irrelevant. Okay.
I was talking about the Islanders, and somehow we start talking about Subway.
Yeah, it seems to happen. We get sidetracked by food a lot, but
it's okay. We're gonna post that clip. It's gonna be a clip, and people are gonna lose their mind. The Buffalo Wings thing already had y'all going crazy. This is gonna be even crazier.
About what? I didn't say Subway was better than.
No. It just some people just don't like us talking about food. It doesn't go over well with some people.
Food is like such a controversial topic sometimes. Yeah, I get that.
It's more controversial than the game we talk about for some reason. But
I don't know. People are dramatic.
Yeah, people are crazy. But listen, Islanders, Philly, Pittsburgh. I would not be surprised.
I think those will be the new top 3 in this division.
Yep, wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, but
goaltending constantly keeping Carolina out of winning it all. Always.
Yeah.
Not a shock.
Yeah. And then the other surprise team, not because they're like on a heater or like on a win streak or whatever, Columbus broke Buffalo's 10-game win streak with a 5-1 win over Buffalo. That was a very good game to watch. Buffalo did a wild move, and they were down by 3. It was 4-1. 8 minutes left in the third period. Buffalo pulls their goalie. That was a crazy move. And then they gave up an empty net goal, and that was that. But yeah, that was interesting. Shout out to the previous episode. I'm big Columbus guys over here. I like Columbus.
I like Columbus too. It makes me kind of
underrated
sad.
team. I always kind of forget about them. They're always kind of they're always kind of left to the side or whatever. But
it makes me sad that they've
team.
been at the bottom of this division for like months. Just somebody start losing, and Columbus just needs to pull it together. I don't know. I'm gonna be honest.
They're only 2 points off of the Rangers, and then my irrational brain, they're only 7 points off of second place in the division. That's only 4 games, so like you never know. Everybody else just has to lose, and then they could potentially be first in the division.
Islanders are on a heater that, like, who do the Islanders play next? So they have the Devils, which the Devils have been kind of off. They have the Preds. I'd say those are 2 dubs. The Wild, that's an L. But then they have the Jets, Oilers, Flames, Canucks, Kraken. It's like a Buffalo, Philly.
There's a good amount of wins scattered in there that they could definitely.
They have
pull ahead.
Kind of a mixed month. Some teams they'll be struggles against. They play the Rangers back to back at the end of the month. 1 at home, 1 away.
I think those are both wins for them.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
I think they're better than the Rangers.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, this Metro is still super tight, and it's still, again, every team over 500. But I think we're going to see here in the next couple weeks a new division leader with Carolina.
I say a new
falling.
top 3, like you said. A new
top
top
I could
3.
see that. I mean, it's not going to take much for that to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, one more Carolina loss and those other 3 teams winning, they're tied and better because a lot of those teams have less games played. So yeah. I mean,
I want to kick things out west here really quick. We're going to the West Coast. We're going to the Pacific Division. Really interesting talk I had with my boy Matt. Shouting out once again, Lips, Puck, and Chirps on TikTok. Everybody go listen to him. My boy Matt. Did a TikTok live with him and a couple other fellas during the Winter Classic. Really appreciate y'all having me on, spreading the word of our podcast. But he made a good point. The easiest path to the Stanley Cup might be the Pacific Division, okay? And it's number 1 in the Pacific. Because number 1 in the Pacific will have to play Wild Card 2, okay? And then they'll play another Pacific team, and then they'll just be in the conference final. If you really think about it, and this is easily the weakest division in the whole league right now, okay? And But at the same time, though, you look at it, it's still pretty tight. It is like the Metro. It's tight. Like, these positions are very interchangeable, especially here in the top 5, top 6. You know, like, I could, dare I say, like, you know, San Jose still has a chance here.
I mean, they're tied for the last wildcard spot in the conference. So, because right now both wildcard spots would come from the Pacific.
Mm-hmm.
And there are 3 teams that are tied at 33 points. And that's Seattle, the Kings, and the Sharks.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
you know, LA, man, I gotta give LA some props here. The Kings have been playing really well lately. Like, this division is totally up for grabs. You know, I'm gonna name the 4 teams who I think could win it are Vegas, Edmonton, Anaheim, and I'll throw LA in the mix. Like, I could genuinely see LA maybe being a little aggressive at the deadline. You know, if they're still in a position to win. Like, Kemper's playing great. Fiala's playing great. Kempe. Kopitar, I don't understand. Kopitar shouldn't retire. Like, he's still that good. It is nuts to me. Like, their top guys over there are putting on a clinic. And I think LA is a team that people need to watch out for if they make the wild card. We also have Seattle climbing here again. Seattle climbing back into a winning position. They were down a little bit last week when we talked about them, and they've kind of put themselves back in the winning mix a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's definitely the weaker of the 2 Western divisions in a way. Like the bottom half or like the bottom part of the Central is worse than like the middle of the Pacific. But yeah, I mean, for that, whoever wins that Pacific division is going to have an easier path to the conference final for sure.
Than the Central, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's just because the top end of the Central is just so competitive. And it's such a shame that 2nd and 3rd place in the Central have to play each other first, and one of those 2 is not going to be moving on. Like, yeah, and it kind of comes up every year when it comes down to like playoffs and stuff like that. It's like, should the format be changed? Like, should it be looked at again and changed up to make it more fair? Not fair, but more
competitive.
Yeah, more interesting, make it more available. But I mean, you change it and then there's always flaws in whatever system you use. But until you do like a major overhaul and you allow like it's not locked up by, East versus West and that kind of stuff. Like if it was just like different, like overall ranking in in the league, like seeding, that would be one thing. I don't know. That's going down a rabbit hole that
we'll definitely have to have that discussion one of these days. I feel like it's come up on so many episodes.
Yeah, maybe a side.
Maybe closer to playoffs. I know she's really going at that chew toy over there, but yeah, not much to really be said in the Pacific other than the fact that like it's just like the Metro. It's close. Like these teams could take it. Oh my gosh, dude, she's really having fun.
It's one of her new Christmas toys she got. So she's having a little playtime in the background there. But yeah, normally she's more chill when I'm recording, but not today.
One team we can talk about here in the Pacific, though, that's just wild to me is Vegas with 11 overtime losses. Like, Vegas is hanging on by the hair on their chin here because of overtime. And that's kind of what we talked about in the preseason mix, though. Preseason predictions is like Vegas could they know how to stay in games. And I'm really curious to see what Vegas, I just know this team and I know this organization, like, they take a swing, to make sure that they can win it all. And like, what is that going to be this year? And like, what are they going to give up? Because I think they want to push for that number 1 spot over Edmonton. Like, you would think it wouldn't be that hard, but Edmonton is also sticking around too. Like, these are 2 teams.
Somehow.
I feel like these 2 teams at the top are just hanging in there, and it's an easy division to win. So
yeah, it's like long term they have to look at it too. It's like, do they want to be? They kind of have to look at like who they want to play towards the end of the season. It's like obviously I don't think any team is gonna like tank to intentionally get a different playoff spot, but I think I don't really see that as a thing in hockey.
Well, I think both these teams are totally in like a win now position.
Mm-hmm.
So being first in this division would mean a lot because of the path that I laid out earlier,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, but it's that I think that it's going to come down to like a tight race between those 2 at the end of the season.
I don't know. Like I said, I could see Anaheim pushing for a top spot. Like,
Yeah,
Anaheim
I
is
mean, I
still a
guess
good team.
they are tied with Vegas too, and they're both only 1 point off of the Oilers. So
Yeah. And the Kings have been winning games. So I don't, the Kings, like the Kings just have such a veteran team with a lot of guys who have touched the playoffs and Stanley Cups before. So, like, I just don't want to count them out. But yeah,
that's true. Again, that's another interesting division that can have a big impact on the overall playoff picture too. So, and if these teams keep it up and keep winning and staying in the positions they are, or keeping the amount of points that they are in the division, yeah, it could be like I said, like both wild card spots come from the Pacific.
yeah.
Yeah, and that'd be kind of a big deal. Like normally it's the other way around. Normally they come from one from each or both from the Central a lot of times.
Yeah.
So what crazy. I mean, I think we should hop over to the Central right now.
Yeah.
Something I never thought would be happening right now. Nashville is 4th in the Central. What?
The
And
fellas
Winnipeg
are
is
buying
last.
in. The fellas are buying in.
You know what it is, you know what happened? You know who showed up and has whipped that team into shape over there is Nick Saban.
Nick Saban is our newest predator in the community.
Yeah.
He's come in.
They've been winning since he showed up.
Bought his stake, in the organization. But yeah, no, it is a surprise. Talking about Nashville, the thing is there were a lot of rumors that they were going to offload a lot of these guys. They're veteran guys: O'Reilly, Stamkos, Marchessault, maybe even Saros. But you see, all of those rumors have been walked back. Okay, and these guys are buying in heavily. The only one who's still out there is Jonathan Marchessault, and apparently he hates the organization. He hates Andrew Brunette, like he hates the organization. He wants out, and just keep an eye out. Marchessault is going to go to Montreal or Toronto. Telling you right now, whichever one of those teams is in a more winning position, he's going to go. I think he's from Ontario. But, with that being said, though, like the O'Reilly trade rumors, you haven't heard too much of that lately. You haven't heard too much of the Stamkos trade rumors. Like, these guys are kind of like, dare I say, it's starting to work out a little bit in Nashville.
Yeah, did they like save their season all of a sudden somehow and kind of like save the team from being broken up?
Yeah.
By stringing together these wins. I mean, I don't know. It's they're still not great, but they're
not in a playoff
hell of a lot
position.
better. No, they're a hell of a lot better than they were at the beginning of the season.
If Nashville makes a wild card spot, that might be one of the craziest outcomes this season. And that's something that nobody's talking about. Like,
yeah,
from last to playoffs would be nuts.
I mean, we predicted them to be bottom 2 in the Central. Now they're top 4. So,
and a lot of it is because Winnipeg's downfall. We talked about this last week a little bit, but this team still continues to struggle, but heavily now. They're really struggling. Even with Hellebuck back, like, is it time to say that maybe it was a one-hit wonder last year? Like, it's just not a very good team.
It's so confusing to me. We were just talking about it in the Team USA episode when we were talking about Hellebuck or whatever. This team's record does not represent, like, if you watch them play, like, most of the time, like, they look good. Like, they look like they play or whatever, and then they still seem to manage to, like, lose these games. I don't really get how.
It's a factor of not being able to finish. Like, there's a lot of slowing down the pace, like guys getting gassed a little bit towards the end, like also relying too much on the top guys to get things done.
Yeah.
Like, you see last year, the depth produced a lot more. You have Scheifele and Connor kind of leading the way now, and Morrissey. Like, it's, I don't know, there's not a full buying in, it's everybody's a little off kilter. So
yeah, I don't really get what they changed between seasons. I really don't. Because they didn't have any major player changes. They, had re-signings and stuff like that locked up their team. So they were pretty confident in their team. And then it just didn't work. Hasn't worked out. Like, I don't know. It just hasn't been good for them. And again, it could be the icing the puck curse of us talking them up so much. And I
have something that's about to counter the icing the puck curse here in a little bit.
Okay.
But Well, we could go to the top of the Central. Still is what it's been. These three teams continue to stay at the top. One thing that's new, though, is my Dallas Stars are slowing down a little bit. A good amount of losses. They're 1-5 in their last 6. And Minnesota's been winning. Minnesota and Dallas are now tied in points. Dallas just has the tiebreaker over them currently.
Yeah, one less game played.
Yeah, so if Minnesota moves into number 2 spot, I don't think it hurts as much. I think we know that these two teams are playing each other in the playoffs. It's just a matter of who wants home advantage. Both teams play exceptionally better at home, so that is going to be important down the stretch. And really what this comes down to is Minnesota has been more ballsy than Dallas. They went out and got their guy. They went out and got Quinn Hughes. Dallas lost Tyler Seguin. Dallas needs to make a move come deadline or get left
Now
behind.
they're down a goalie too.
DeSmith is out for personal reasons, but
Yeah.
he'll be back.
Yeah.
He's not hurt.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's going to put a lot more workload on Ottinger, which I think he's fine. I mean, he hasn't been having his best statistical season ever, but it's not bad by any means. And he's helped them win some games, and then a few games have been lost. But I don't think that I won't really put those on him. A lot of the losses have been honestly kind of the same as like with the Jets, like they're giving up some leads or they're just the game's kind of running away from them a little bit.
Yeah, Stars power play has also really struggled, which, they had the league's best power play for most of the beginning of this year, and now it's, a middle of the pack power play. And when you can't produce on special teams and you're giving up penalties, it's not good. It's not good. And then we move up, of course, your Colorado Avalanche got another regulation loss today. It's only their 3rd of the whole season. And it comes to the Stanley Cup champions.
It's so over, bro. It's so over. The tank comes now, bro. They're going to be last in the league. Oh, no. They're still, I mean, as much as people hate on the Avs, they're still the best in the league right now. They've got plenty of points to, a point differential than the next closest team, which is Dallas and Minnesota. They're
11 points on
both those. Yeah, 11 points on both those teams. So that's quite a few games that they'd have to lose and those other teams would have to win.
How much does the Landy injury affect things now?
That's if he's out like long term. I mean, it could have just been that game was the game today was just not good. They just didn't look very good. It was a back-to-back after playing Carolina. A quick turnaround. I mean, they got to Carolina on Saturday or Friday, played Saturday, left, got to Florida today, played in Florida. Earlier game, like it was, like 2:30 puck drop or whatever. So like, I mean, less than 24 hours between games.
Yeah.
That's hard.
It wears on people.
Wedgwood started both games because Blackwood's out with injury. I didn't expect that. I did not expect that. Of the two, I thought Wedgwood was going to start today, and they were going to start Trent Miner yesterday, but they decided to start him for both. But again, it wasn't a bad game on the goaltending side either. It was two like really good plays. I mean, the second goal, the game-winning goal, was a really good screened shot into the goal. I mean, it was like textbook basically. So it was just a bad game for Colorado. But again, it's only the third regulation loss of the season. It's not the end of the world. But again, Landeskog, if he's out for like a longer, like even an extended amount of time, luckily this year we have the depth to make up for that. I mean, he started the season playing on the third line. He's now in the past like 2 weeks been playing on the first line. That's how far he's progressed since then. But all they're going to do is they're going to move Lehkonen back up to the first line. They're going to move probably Colton back up to the second line, and then they'll bring in one of the other guys that they have in reserve to play. I mean, I'm not really worried about it.
Yeah.
I think the bigger impact is going to be like his presence on the team more so than his like performance on the team. So
I just hope he gets healthy by Olympics time.
I don't think, honestly, I think it was more of a just like it was a bad wind
knocked out of him type of deal.
Yeah, maybe some bruising and like a bad hit on his ribs. It was upper body, so it's not like his previous injury or anything like that.
Yeah.
I think it was more of a cautionary thing. They could tell this game was just not going their way. No reason to go back in, like just, take it easy. It was also like the last 10 minutes of the game. So
yeah.
It's not, it was in the third period. I don't know if it was the last 10 minutes, but I wasn't paying attention to it when it happened live. I just saw it afterwards. I mean, and then again, today, Devon Taves didn't play either. because he got kind of banged up a little bit in Carolina. So, I mean, just an off game, but you're not going to win them all. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah,
For the first time in my Avalanche history, I'm not just like, it's so over after they lose one game. Like, it's not the end of the world. So, but still looking strong.
Well, we
No
could,
issues there.
with all this being talked about, we could talk about the team that beat them today, move over to the East Coast. Last division we have to cover here is the Atlantic Division. The Florida Panthers did dismantle your Colorado Avalanche today, and Florida's been winning. They've been winning some games. You know, they lost to New York, obviously, in the Winter Classic, but Florida here in 4th place in the Atlantic Division. Do you think the past 2 years Stanley Cup champions are going to prove all of us wrong and make the playoffs this year after a very abysmal start?
I still don't think they look that great. I still think they're a little iffy. Well, one, they're not in a playoff spot right now, so they're not in a wild card spot yet. But I mean, yes and no. I mean, they have definitely looked better than they did at the start of the season. But again, some of their play is just a little iffy. Like they just have gotten. They're winning because of like the style of hockey that Florida plays, like very aggressive.
Yeah.
Very like if they're able to capitalize on it and be aggressive on the puck in the offensive zone, they it works out for them and they can score. But they also kind of can shoot themselves in the foot a little bit, and it kind of goes both ways. Like there is a chance that it blows back on them, and they turn it over, and vice versa, and bring up opportunities and stuff. It just yes, they've looked better, but I still don't know if they are Stanley Cup contenders yet. I can see them making playoffs, like maybe as a wild card spot again this year, but they won it as a wild card spot and went all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals against Vegas that year. So,
one thing that
can happen.
Just sits on my mind is Matthew Tkachuk on his way back, and Barkov participated in the morning skate at the Winter Classic.
Did he?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, okay.
He's on the ice skating, and I don't know, man. I feel like the sleeping giant might be awoken. Both of these guys come back for the playoffs if they make it, and it's I don't know. It might get messy over there in the Atlantic, and then the East playoffs. But barring if they make it, I'm getting a little ahead of myself here, but then we still got Detroit, Montreal, and Tampa, who are both 5 points ahead of Florida.
Yeah. Detroit has looked solid. They had those 2 losses back-to-back to the Penguins, basically.
Yeah.
Where they just got completely outplayed. But they still have looked good overall. And that's painful to say as a fan, but they have looked good. And then Montreal and Tampa, solid teams right now. All of those teams are within 1 point of each other. So yeah, Montreal and Detroit are at 52 points and Tampa's at 53.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it's a pretty close at the top right there. So they're I think that we're going to probably see some shuffling around or whatever, but the strongest of those 3 right now is Tampa.
For sure.
They definitely look solid.
Since they've gotten everybody back with Hedman and Vasilevsky,
Mhm.
I mean, this team is back to where they usually are. I mean, they've won Stanley Cups with a lot of the guys that they still have. They're still a solid group. I think goaltending has been better for them this year than it was last year. And defensively, nobody talks about, Darren Radish is having a breakout year. I mean, he has been incredible for them, while Hedman has been out a couple times, and he's still in there as a great player. And then JJ Moser has been incredible too. Like their defensive depth is really, really good this year. And I think out of all the teams here in the Atlantic, they for sure have the best defense. Like I think some of these other teams struggle defensively, but Tampa could hold you to very few goals if they really want to. So yeah, I mean, I think they've played pretty solid year. I could still see them. I think we both predicted them to win the Atlantic. At the beginning of the year. So
Yep.
Our predictions holding strong there. Other than that, the Atlantic a little slow. We still have a good amount of teams at the bottom, but the teams at the bottom it's the same as the Metro. They're only a couple games out of the top.
Yeah. The most impressive one right now has been Buffalo with their 10-game win streak.
Yes.
And that was a huge turnaround from the beginning of the season. Kind of crazy to see that happen. But then they go and just get absolutely destroyed by the Blues. So
We see this every year from Buffalo. I feel like they somehow find a way to corral all the fans back in, give them a reason to be excited, and then they crush their dreams. This happens every single season. Literally, like Buffalo, I say it all the time, like they looks like such a good team, but really deep down they're not. I mean, obviously the change in management that we've been talking about, like that's a big deal. It has helped them to establish a new culture very quickly, too, I might add. Very quickly, they've established this new culture. And, Yarmo, their new GM, said his goal was to make the playoffs this year. So I don't know. Let's see if they could.
they're close. I mean, they're only 2 points off of a playoff spot. So, I mean, could happen.
And then more Atlantic Division news. Austin Matthews becomes the all-time leading goal scorer for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Just had to state that 421 goals. This is what I was talking about. The icing the puck curse might not be real because we predicted him to win the Richard. Well, he's not winning the Richard. Maybe we thought we were the reason for his downfall, but AM34 kind of last 4 games got 10 points. He's back on the map. Hat trick. He might be back. I don't know. So he might disprove our curse. We'll see.
Could be.
We'll
yeah,
see.
I mean,
Main
if he
Team
keeps
USA. I know you're real happy about that.
Yeah, if he keeps up his current performance into the Olympics and stuff like that, my statement that I made in our Team USA discussion, it will be, like I said, I hope I'm wrong based on what I said. Like,
Yeah.
I don't, I'm not saying I want him to be bad, but I think that, yeah, if he plays like he's been playing the past couple of games for the rest of the season, that'd be awesome for Team USA and maybe good for the Leafs. Maybe they can get off of the bottom of that division.
What I think? I think Matthews might purposefully play bad like he did in Four Nations last year because he plays for Toronto. Like maybe he's like a treasonous spy. He's
tanking because it's not an American team.
He's like, I'm Canadian now, and he tries to help Team Canada win. Getting a little crazy here. A little conspiratorial here,
Sleeper agent Austin Matthews. What's the word to activate him? So he
it's Poppy, because they call him Leafs Poppy. That's what they call him, I think. They compare him to Drake and stuff, I think.
Gosh.
Something like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm just totally out of the loop.
Dude, what was that TV show that Drake was on? I remember it used
Degrassi.
to be Degrassi. That's what it was, dude. Remember
that? My wife watched Degrassi last year, and I was like, is that Drake?
That's crazy.
He's in a wheelchair.
Actually?
Yeah, he gets shot. Actually, he gets shot and he gets crippled and he's in a wheelchair.
The only thing I know about that show is I used to see the ads or the ads for it on what was it, Nickelodeon or whatever, right?
Yeah.
It used to play on Teen Nick.
Yeah, Teen Nick, dude, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Dang.
Yeah. Honestly, wild. That's so weird.
What even is this show anymore at this point? Austin Matthews to Drake to Degrassi. Was Austin Matthews on Degrassi? No.
He was too busy hanging out in Arizona. He's from Arizona, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He
is.
Yeah.
That's right.
But him and Justin Bieber are good pals. So, listen, that's enough. Okay, if we've covered every division, we're getting a little off track. I think this is where we call the episode. I think that has to be it. That has to be it.
Yep. Sage is back. Say hello.
Hello, Sage. Welcome back.
Yep. She's a little high energy. You haven't seen what she's like. She's over here. She's managed to pull out every single toy from her toy bin. The ones that she hasn't even touched in months are everywhere. There's some over here. I didn't even know she had these still. But yeah, she's a little high energy right now. So, but she's glad to be talking about hockey.
Glad to be a part of the show.
Yeah,
we're glad to have you, Sage. Yeah. But thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you for the engagement. Check out our bonus episodes. Once again, we will have Finland and Sweden coming at you this week sometime. And keep an eye out for a new episode every Monday, as usual. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And
check out the socials. Again, we love the interaction over there. The TikTok live that Brian did was awesome. And just keep an eye out for that stuff and updates on the episodes and everything. So we will see everybody next time.
Adios.